All right. Good morning. Today is Thursday. This is the video lesson for Thursday for KAP Ratios, but it might also be Friday, ACA. We'll see. If we do not get through this whole lesson in class, it is an expectation that you'll finish it at home, but it's not too bad of a lesson. Okay? So today we are finally talking about that word that Ms. Adel has been saying, hey, we're going to learn about this. We're going to talk about this one day. Today's the day. We finally get to talk about it. We're going to be talking about ratios. Everyone say it? Ratios. And a ratio is just a way to compare two numbers. There's different ratios in life. You'll probably heard like, oh, the ratio of boys to girls. That would be a comparison. It's going to be the number of girls to the number of boys. It's a ratio just compares quantities and numbers. Okay, so there's a couple different ways that we write ratios. We can use it. We can use words. We can use a colon, and we can use a fraction bar. So I'll show you all three. So if Ms. Lytle asks you for the ratio in this picture of girls to boys, okay, how many girls are in that picture? Three, and there's how many boys? Four. So we can write that three different ways. We can say the ratio of 3 to 4. We can use the colon 3 to 4, and then a fraction bar. You put the numerator 3 to 4. You'll see that? Yeah. Now, does the order matter? If I had said 4 to 3, is that still the ratio of girls to boys? No, that would be the ratio of boys to girls. So the order is super important. So I always like to, if it was in a word form, I will underline what to what, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a little bit. But there's three ways that you can write it. Are y'all good with that? Okay. We can also say, if I don't want to do the ratio of girls to boys, let's try out what is the ratio of blue shirts to the total number of people. Okay. So what's one way I could write that using the numbers that is correct? Payment.
Well, first you find out how many people are on the board.
Okay, which is? Three people. Okay, and then?
And then you figure out how many people there are.
Okay, and how many are there? Seven. So what is one way to write that ratio? 3 to 7. So do you want to, which one do you want? The colon? 3 to 7. Do y'all agree? Great. Haley, what's another way? 3 over 7, and Stephen, the last way? 3 to 7. Life changing. All right. So now we get to talk about, so there's different types, and I just did a few. So there's a part-to-part ratio. So when we did boys to girls, boys is a part of the whole, and girls is a part. So it was a part-to-part comparison. You okay with that? Okay. There's part to whole. So that second question where I said blue to the total, part of the group to the whole group. Again, is it too crazy? No. And then a unit rate. Unit rates is talking about, I always think of when I go to the grocery store, thinking about if I had cans and the cost, how much money, the cost and the number of cans of soda that I get. Okay, so let's say, for example, that I got 4 cans of soda that cost $8. The unit rate is how much it is for one, a unit, a single one. So that unit rate, that ratio, how much would it be just for one class? 2. Okay, a unit rate is that ratio that's simplified down to just 1. You okay with that? Okay, we'll do more practice on rates. Unit rates in a second. So I'm going to have people come up here, and yes, you get to touch the smartboard. We are going to be talking about the ratio of, and this is where I do my underlining, green fish to orange fish. I believe you can record as we go along in here. I think this is slide number 3 on that box. You see those boxes at the top of your paper? I'm sorry I missed 1 and 2, but we're on number 3. We're going to write the ratio of green fish to orange fish. I'm going to have 3 different people come up, and you can move these things. So the 3 ways. So I'm going to just call volunteers. Please be ready with your answer. So Marcelo, you can move one. Ashika, you can move one. I'm going to put those back in. And then after that, Will, you can go for 2. Okay, we're looking for green to orange. Ashika, go ahead. Y'all agree?
Yeah.
Awesome job. Okay, 3 different ways to write the same thing. Number 4, there are 4 fish in the tank, and the ratio of green fish to orange fish is 1 to 3. So again, I always like to underline it to make sure I notice the order. Green to orange. Okay, so we are going to create that ratio. We want to make sure it's equivalent. Okay, so what? I'm going to have the person do these things like clone infinitely, like forever and ever and ever. You're going to place the correct amount of fish in that tank. Do y'all understand what's going on? Hannah, do you want to try it out? Okay, go on up there. We're going to make a ratio, green to orange. Do y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was going to throw something up there. Okay, what if I had 2 green fish in my tank? What would I need to do in order to keep that ratio, Michael?
So basically, since the thing, the 1/3 is simplified, so that means you have to add some more of these.
How many more?
2 more, yeah.
Okay, well, do it.
Yay.
Okay, oh, double check. Well, no, that was correct. You're correct. You're correct. Okay, so let's look, because they're all like swimming together, so it's a little hard to see. 1, and then 1, 2, 3, and then that one has 1 and 3. Do y'all agree? Okay, and I like when he said that it was simplified. He said, well, that one was 1 to 3, but what if I like made it, I didn't just have 1 green fish, I had 2 green fish. Hey, looky there, what is that thing? A proportion times 2, so that means I would need to have how many orange fish? 6. Y'all see how that works?
Yeah. So that means I did proportions in my course.
Yeah, you've secretly been doing proportions for a long time. Guess I'll just point it out now. You're welcome. All right, let's try another one. So it says that the ratio of, oh, yeah, we just did this. Sort of, kind of. Let's look at it. It's a little different. So there are 8 fish in the tank, and the ratio of green fish to orange fish is 1 to 3.
8 fish.
There's 8 fish in the tank. Okay? If I had a ratio of 1 to 3, it says green to orange was 1 to 3. Is that a part to part or a part to whole ratio? That is a part to part. But could I figure out the whole number? Okay, what's the total? I'm going to put T for total. What's the total number in that? 8. No. If I had a 1 to 3, that's a total of 4. But I don't have 4 fish. Like, it's telling me I need to have 8 fish. So what can I do? I can multiply by 2. And whatever I do over here, I need to do to all of the terms. So I don't want this to be too confusing, so it's almost like a 3-part proportion. I'm going to do this times 2 and this times 2 to keep that ratio the same. So we said there would be how many orange fish? 6. And how many green fish? 2. And 2 plus 6, would that give me 8?
Yay.
Yeah. Okay, and that's what Michael just did. I just sort of got ahead of us. Okay? All right, moving on. What is the ratio of blackfish to redfish? Again, you can write this in your slide on the box for 6. And I'm going to call some people up and y'all will fill in those blanks. What is the ratio of blackfish to redfish in each of the aquariums? If I could have Ava go do 1, Parker go do 1, Vivian go do 1, and Saki go do 1. One at a time, but please do it quickly. Okay, do y'all agree?
Yeah.
2 to 3, 4 to 6. What could we technically do with 4 to 6? That ratio of 4 to 6?
Simplify.
We could simplify it, and we could simplify it down to 2 to 3. 2 to 3. Are those equivalent ratios? Yeah. They all simplify down to the same thing. Very good. Keep it going. So what do we notice? This slide is ahead of the game a little bit. What What did you notice about those two? They're the same because we can simplify. Very good. So we're gonna match some equivalent ratios. I'll do one with you. Okay, so let's find one that we can simplify. What's one that you can see? Let's raise a hand. Which one do you see I can simplify? Hannah, what can I simplify?
6 to 60.
6 to 60. What could I divide them both by?
6.
Divide them both by 6, and so that's the same thing as 1, 2, 10. Okay. Doesn't that go with that? Okay. Real quick, let me see how much we have left to get to. Not that much. Yeah, I'm just making sure we have enough time. Yes, Saki.
So you can simplify 9 to 12.
Okay, 9 to 12, we can divide them both by 3. So that would make 9 divided by 3, that would give me 3 to 4. 3 to 4. Do you have 3 to 4? Okay, those go together. What else? Michaela, what do you see? Yeah. Okay, and that would get you? Okay, so she said that 10 over 4, we can divide them both by 2 to get 5 over 2. Do we have that option? Yes. Okay. 6 to 8. What can we do with 6 to 8, Maria? Okay, and what would that get you? 3/4. Hey, didn't we have a 3/4? Is it possible to have 3 equivalent? Yeah, of course you can. Okay, 5, 6. What can we do with that? We can build it up, of course. We can multiply both of them by 2. And that would give us 10 to 12. And do we have that up here? Yeah, sort of. 3 to 15, I can pair up with 1 to 5. I agree. And then 10 over 5 is the same thing as 10 over 5 is the same thing as. Is there a matching up there? No. What could I simplify 10 over 5 to?
1 to 2.
I disagree. 2 to 1 is the order matters. With a ratio, typically we will not simplify it further than that because if it's just 2, we don't know if that's talking about, well, we know that it's talking about the numerator, but it's sort of hard to compare. Okay, we typically leave it improper in this case. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and skip over this page because again, I think we're pretty good on this. I'm going to go to one that's a little spicier. Okay, so we have like more of a real world question. It says the ratio of orange juice to water for this recipe is 1 to 5. So again, this I'll always underline, circle, and then underline so I know what that is. Okay, it's 1 to 5. So for every how many oranges? For every one orange, there are 5 things of water. Okay, so if I have 1 quart of orange, how much water should I have? 5, because it's that same ratio. But if I have, well, no, it's still fine. If I have 2 gallons, that's going to be 10 because this is times 2. This should be times 2, so that should be 10 gallons. That's actually not that right. Okay, I'm going to do it in a different color. If I'm going 5 to 30, that would be times 6. And so do that same thing. 6. Are we good with that? Okay. Again, it's just like pointing things out that make sense and that we know. And since we are so comfortable with proportion, this isn't that bad. Again, you're welcome. Okay. So let's look at this because I think this gets spicy. The ratio of orange juice to water for this recipe is 1 to 6. Great. Careful. You must do ratios first and then convert units. Because what are they doing here? What did they do? Are those the same units? No, these were the same units. Then they made it a spicy meatball.
No.
Okay, so first, let's do it like quarts to quarts. So how many quarts should this be? If it's orange juice to water is 1 to 6. That's for every 1, there are 6. So if there's 1 quart, how many quarts of water should there be? 6 quarts, but it's asking you for the number of pints. So we need to do a proportion. Okay, what are our two units in our proportion? We have pints and quarts. Maria, since I know you have the star chart in front of you, how many pints go with how many quarts? 2. What did you say? I'm sorry. 2 blood go with what? 2 pints go with 1 quart. Okay, in our problem, we're starting with 6 quarts, so that 6 goes on the bottom, and we need to find how many pints that is. So class, what do I need to do? Times 6 to give me 12. Okay, and again, that's 12 pints. Y'all see how I would do that? Okay, try number 2. Try batch number 2. Pause and play when you're ready. Let's start with how many gallons this should be. How many gallons should this be, class? 12. Are y'all confident with that, or are y'all sort of guessing? Let's just explain again. So if it's 1 to 6, that was times. To go from 1 to 2, we did times 2. So I need to do times 2 over here. So 6 times 2 is 12. Okay, but again, it's asking for the number of quarts. So I'm going from gallons to quarts. And what is that conversion that's on my star chart?
1 gallon equals 4 quarts.
One more time.
1 gallon equals 4 quarts.
1 gallon is 4 quarts. I'm starting with 12 gallons. I need to figure out how many quarts that is. In class, I get 48. Okay? Again, for time's sake, I am going to keep this moving. There is one more that you can try on your own, but I need to keep the flow going. So we have this little set of 6 questions. I'm going to give y'all, you might not be able to get through it all. Let's have y'all do, I'm going to put like a little star next to the ones I want y'all to do. This first one, the second one, and try this one. I believe this one's a spicy one if I remember correctly. So do those 3 real quick. If you finish early, do the other 3. Pause and play when you're. Okay, I'm going to start with number 5. I'm going to start with this one, then I'm going to go to this one and that one because it's spice level. Starting with the spiciest and then working my way down. So there's a basketball or a basket filled with red and green tiles. Lucy divided 160 tiles into 2 groups, so the ratio is 7 to 3. How many tiles are red? I'm going to go with the order that it says right here, red and green. So I'm going to put red to green is, they said 7 to 3. Are we good with that? Are we good with that? Okay, 7 to 3. But the issue is it says it's 160 tiles. Is that 160 a part or a whole? Whole. Are these 7 and 3, are those parts or are they wholes? It is parts. So, I don't know what to do. So, what did we do earlier? If I have 2 parts, could I figure out my whole? Yeah, what would my total be in this case? No. If I have a 7 to 3 ratio, what would my whole be, Michaela? 10, because I just needed to add those. Okay? Again, it's one of those, it's sort of weird because it's like a 3-part ratio. I don't know either of these parts, but I do know that my new total is, no, my current total is 10, but my new total, the total that's in my basket is 160. So I have to ask myself, how did I go from 10 to 160? The answer is times 16. So what I do to one, I need to do to all of them. Okay? So I need to do 3 times 16, which is 48. And then I need to do 7 times 16, which is 112. If I wanted to check, I could add 112 plus 48, and that would give me 160. Yes? Yes, and those are my 2 groups, the red and the green. Okay? Okay? All right, the next one. Again, I'm hoping I can do this real quick. Kevin is putting together information packets to parents about open house. He can put together 12 packets in 20 minutes. I hear people packing up. I hear people packing up 20 minutes. We want to know which proportion could be used to find out how many minutes it will take to put together 50 packets. So that 50 goes on the top or the bottom.
Bottom.
That's talking about packets, though.
Yeah,
on top. Oh.
It goes on the top. Okay, and I'm looking for how many minutes. I don't know the number of minutes. Remember, I said you have to keep the units across. Do any of those answer choices match that? No. Okay, so that's why I'm hoping that y'all would pack up right now because did you get it right? Okay, so the thing about proportions is sometimes you can like rotate them. So maybe I put like the given is on the top, so I did 12 packets in 20 minutes, and then I just keep like packets up and down, and I do minutes this way. So I have 50 and X. Does that work? Do I have that set up anywhere? Where 12 and 20 go across, okay, and then 50 and X, but 12 is still with 50, because that's talking about packets. What letter is that? A. Okay, A is correct. Again, because in both cases they're talking about packets in this one and minutes in this one. Okay, you just have to like rotate it. The back is your homework.